What's going on? I'm Sid and I'm a second year medical student. I've just finished my first year of med school and I've learned a lot. It was fun. In this video, I'm going to teach you some of the things that I learned and how to actually have a successful first year. I want to help you succeed in your first year of medical school with ease and confidence, and I'm going to give you some actionable steps that you can follow in this video. And lastly, you can do these things without having to sacrifice a lot of different things, like hanging out with your friends or going to the gym or just, keeping up with any hobbies that you like. So let's get into it. So what can you expect from med school? Now, before you start med school, you probably think in your head like, oh yeah, it's hard or it's going to be difficult. And yeah, I can agree. I can confirm that it is hard. It is going to be difficult. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you got into med school for a reason, right? You studied hard, you worked hard in school, in A levels, and now you've got in. So it won't be too hard because you've done the hard work. Now it's just maintaining that work ethic across the 4, 5, or 6 years of your med school journey. There's going to be a lot of content to learn because I remember in my first year, I had 2 winter exams and I had about 4 summer exams. So there was about 6 different modules or, topics I had to learn. So it is challenging, but I'm going to teach you how to, overcome that and still do the things that you love. So the number one thing I would say is to prepare for med school and to actually have a good experience is to build a strong foundation. Now, what I mean by that is you want to develop effective study habits and time management techniques. Now, what are effective study habits? Now, what I would suggest is to start early on. When you first start med school, I know it's new and everything, and you will often leave preparing for exams and things like that till last minute or, a month before or something. But I would suggest once you get into med school and you're learning new content, I'd say make your flashcards and your notes as early as possible, just because it will help you later on down the line. Because I remember when I joined in September, October, and I had these winter exams, I was just enjoying med school far too much, hanging out with my friends and going out and stuff. And I did neglect my studies a bit. And that had a bit of a terrible effect because that meant during my exam period, I was stressing about learning all this new stuff that, I had to know for the exams. So make sure you develop these effective study habits. Don't, reread notes or think that notes are your one key to success in passing exams. Focus on making flashcards, focus on understanding the content rather than remembering, just certain facts and figures and things like that. And trust me, that will help you so much. And the next thing is to actually have effective time management techniques. So you need to be able to manage your time well. Don't think that for a second working 10 plus hours a day studying is productive, because I'm telling you it's not. A productive day isn't someone who is doing 10 plus hours of work, focusing on this exam. A productive person is someone who can spend 4 hours studying and 1 hour going to the gym, 1 hour hanging out with friends, another hour calling your mom to tell her, yeah, I'm fine, even though you're like 100 miles away from home. So make sure you develop effective study habits early on and you manage your time well, because those 2 things will help you so much. So you also want to have a healthy work and life balance. You don't want to be someone who is always just focused on their work. So make sure you take time out to actually hang out with people, and don't neglect this, because I certainly did this in my first year because I made that mistake. I made the mistake of thinking I need to be working 24/7, otherwise I can't keep up. And that's not true. And that comes back to time management. If you have good time management skills and you can set times for, certain things that you're going to do throughout the day, then you don't need to worry about having to sit down and study 8 plus hours a day. You can, do a little bit in the morning, hang out, whatever, and then do a little bit later on during the day or something. So make sure you're not, completely focused on studying, because that's not what university or med school is about. It's about actually enjoying the whole experience, the whole student life, the atmosphere, and just hanging out with people and just, being a social butterfly whilst also maintaining good grades and all of that sort of stuff. So next I want to talk about is what sort of tech can you buy? What sort of things can you buy before starting med school that will streamline your med school experience? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is noise cancelling headphones. Now, noise cancelling headphones are one of the best things you can invest in when it comes to starting med school. Now, I bought these Sony headphones and I'll add a picture of it somewhere here. They're about £200-300, but honestly, they work like magic. The number one thing is is, you know, when you try to focus and study, you want to cancel out like all these distractions that are going on in the background, and you know, you want to focus deeply, you know, on your work. So make sure you buy a good pair of noise cancelling headphones for those, you know, late night library sessions, you know, when you will be doing them, or when you're working in cafes, because it increases your focus so much. You're just able to pay more attention to the work at hand. And you know, that's one thing I struggled with, was when I used to use the public library. Even though it's a library, people are still talking, it's loud, and I'm someone who needs a quiet environment. I can't study when there's distractions going on. And I know some people can work with like background noise in cafes, but for me it's a bit distracting. So I like to have just a good pair of noise cancelling headphones when I'm doing the work, just so I can focus and I can get the stuff I need to done. The next thing you should probably consider buying is an iPad with an Apple Pencil. Now, the reason why this is so good is because you don't want to like take notes in a paper book, or you know, with a pen, like a real pen. The reason why is there is a lack of organization. You know, when you put your notebook or loose pieces of paper into your bag, it gets scrunched up, it gets stuck at the bottom of the bag, you lose things, and you know, it's quite difficult to keep track of all your notes when it's just all in one book. Now on the iPad, what you can do is just create separate folders and notes and dividers, and it will literally take out all the friction of, you know, making notes. And it actually makes making notes more fun. When you're in lectures, you know, it's actually quite enjoyable to whip out your iPad and start writing, and you will find that once you buy it, like, you're more inclined to just take notes and pay attention and listen. And you know, that's like what it's about, right? That's the whole point of buying the iPad and the Apple Pencil, because you want to take notes, you want to learn the new content that your professor is teaching you in, you know, the lectures and the seminars. So make sure you buy the iPad and the Apple Pencil, because it will save you a lot of time and hassle when it comes to preparing for exams and, you know, so on. So next I want to talk about note taking, and there are two ways to do this. So if I take my laptop into a lecture, how will I take notes, you know, if I'm not bringing my iPad? Now, you might have heard of this app. It's called Notion. It's for free. You can download it on your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad, and you essentially just type up notes. It's like Google Docs, but it's way better. The reason why it's so good is because you can create, you know, separate folders, not just for like studying. You can literally keep track of everything. You know, if you've read a book, you can create a separate folder for all the books you've read and all the most, you know, important highlights and quotes from that book, or, you know, literally just anything. It's just a massive, like, cohesive app that you can use to track everything that it is, you know, in your day-to-day, when it comes to lectures and just things like that. So do check out Notion. It's for free, and I'll link it in the description somewhere below. Now, what if you're taking your iPad into a lecture? What if you're, you know, handwriting, you know, notes on your iPad with the Apple Pencil? What app do you use to take these notes? Now, the app I use is Notability. I think it's the best app out there, just because it's so easy to use and just keep track of all your notes. You know, you can have them in separate, distinct folders and dividers, and it literally streamlines everything. I will be making more videos on how I use Notability personally in my like day-to-day when it comes to studying. So do subscribe if you want to see me talk about things like that in the future. So that's all for this video. If you did enjoy it and you found what I said helpful, and you know, you're someone who just finished A-levels and you're about to study medicine, you've got accepted, or you're someone doing GCSEs and you're thinking of studying medicine, you can use this video as a reference before you go into medical school. So these are all the things that I would recommend you do and actually buy before you begin medical school, just to help you, you know, have confidence and, you know, navigate med school with ease without having to sacrifice a lot of different things when it comes to actually, you know, getting into it and getting started. So do subscribe if you did enjoy this, and I will see you in the next one.